Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 6v6 custom match here on the map of Meridia. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1. Up here on the northern section of the map, ending with Team 2 on the southern section of the map. Starting off with the easternmost player on Team 1, it is the Wheelie going first land as a Cybran in Stitch Blue. And he is a 2500. To his southwest, we have the Snow White player of FTX Commando for short, going first land as a UEF, and he is an 1800. To his southwest, we have Achieved Jaguar 8, Achieved Jaguar for short, going first land in Royal Blue as a Cybran. He is a 2000 rated player. To his west, in Royal Purple, we have Sheen going first land as an Aeon, and he is a 2000 rated player. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit so I don't miss any of the opening action. To his north, in the color Rust, going first land as a Cybran as well for Team 1. It is God of Roadkill. I had to zoom out to be able to read his name. And he is a 2100. And last but not least, for Team 1 in the rearguard air slot, we have Praetors going first land as a Seraphim in Pac-Man Yellow, and he is a 2400. So for Team 1's racial makeup here, they have 3 Cybrans, a UEF, a Seraphim, and an Aeon. All of the races represented and factions represented for Team 1 with 2 additional Cybrans. And let's go ahead and introduce Team 2, starting off in the opposite of the player of the Wheelie. It is Foley going first land, second air as a Cybran in Ruby Red. And he is a 2400. To his northeast in Chevy Crimson, we have a Boom Noob, probably Boom for short. I'll probably say probably something else other than Boom Noob for his name. I even messed his name up there. He's going first land, second air. And again, he is a Cybran and a 1800. And right next to him is Mr. Beast going first land as a Seraphim, second air as well. He is in Batman Gray. And again, he is a 2400. To his east, in orange, the color orange, we have Mites. I was going to say maize, like the corn, but it's Mites. I think it's how you say it. Going first land, second air as a Cybran. Again, he is in orange, the color orange, as a 1900. And the last 2 players on Team 2, it is No Fear 555. Going first land, second air as a UEF. In light oak tan, and he is an 1800. And last but not least, for Team 2 in lightish red pink, we have Balance Slave going first land, second land, probably third air, most likely. I would assume so, maybe even third navy, but I'm assuming third air, and he is a 2300, and he is a Seraphim. So for Team 2 side of things, for their racial makeup, we have 3 Cybran, 2 Seraphim, 1 UEF. The only difference between Team 1 and Team 2 is Team 2 does not have access to Aeon technology, but has a double in Seraphim. And of course, Team 1 and Team 2 both have 3 Cybran players, so expect telemasers at least once in this very high-rated game from 1800 all the way up to 2500 with the Wheelie. Let's go ahead and look at the reclaims here for the map. We have 97,000 reclaim at almost 3 minutes. So probably estimated at 100,000 reclaim. That is a heck of a lot of reclaim for each of our players. And as you can see in the map, this is going to be a heavy naval map. We can see lots of water. Everyone almost on their own island with a couple of players sharing the island with a teammate. And we really just have a lot of open space, or open water, I should say, on the northeast and southwestern sides of the map. I will go back to 0. We did have a bomber from Team 2's player of Mr. Beast going after Team 1's player of Shen. Looks like he's going after the engineers, but there is an interceptor nearby. Does take out that bomber. A second one is inbound going after engineers. I would assume. There he goes. And there he goes, taking him out. He does not kill that mass extractor, and that interceptor does go down as well. Another bomb does drop and takes out another engineer. And a third bomber on the way, 4th one as well. And even a T1 gunship from the player of Boom Noob, and he is really being aggressive. Those 2 players are being really aggressive. The gunship does get shot down pretty early. They're getting a radar system to detect those early threats that are inbound. and getting probably at least one T1 AA up and running will definitely help assist in defenses over here to the west. Looks like it's still just constant pressure here from these two players in the middle for Team 2. But as I was saying, in terms of the Mechs' layout, there really isn't a whole lot for 12 players. And, I mean, there's kind of these nice little Mechs in the water here beside the... Also, don't mean to zoom in and out like that. The kind of natural barriers to protect against missiles and artillery fire. But realistically, there's not a lot of Mechs to go around, so a lot of our players will either be heavily aggressive in taking out enemy Mechs and claiming them for themselves, or they're going to be focusing on their own ecos by building up RASCOMs, building up mass FAF farms. But land is kind of at a premium here in this game. So we probably will see a lot of RASCOMs just due to the fact that you can just build a couple of quantum gateways and just gate support commanders in versus having to have a large area for mass fabs. But in terms of our movements here for both of our teams as comms, we do see movement out from the player of Foley to the north to claim these two Mechs here. And I don't really see anybody else. The player of Mites, still don't know if he's saying his name right, is moving here to the east. And not really a lot of other players leaving their main island. We are seeing these two players in the center islands kind of spread out and go for those Mechs out on the fringes of their islands. But we are seeing a small air fight over this island here for both teams. And really early on like this, air fights, they're kind of nice to have control, but you don't... I mean, by the time you have the fight, by the time you wait a couple minutes, a team has T3 anyways. So it's really just for early bombing runs, really just some harassment, just trying to annoy the enemy player. And we do see both teams, we see both players on Team 1 actually sharing one of the hydrocarbons. Unfortunately, the other player for FTX Commando does not get the adjacency bonus, which I feel like they should fix. I feel like if your teammate is, you're trying to double up on, let's say, a PGen, you should be able to share that because it's on your team. It's not like an enemy player doing it. So maybe in the future they'll have some sort of like ability to have adjacency bonuses with friendly units, not necessarily only your own units or structures. Would like to see that, but of course, stuff happens. Maybe somebody will die early on and that'll go into one of the other two players' hand anyways. So it might not even matter. But we do have an interceptor being shot down by a commander here in the middle by FTX Commando. That's always such a pain to watch a air unit be taken out by a sole ground firing unit. We see some build up here to the east by both teams here to secure this eastern flank of Navy. But of course, a lot of avenues to attack with multiple islands to traverse. And the water is actually pretty shallow. You can just tell due to the color of the water, essentially, or how deep it goes. There are deeper sections here, of course, but a lot of it is actually kind of shallow considering the fact that we're in our archipelago, essentially is what we're in. There is some deeper sections to hide from bombers and stuff like that. But really, our comms will be vulnerable to ground firing for the most part if they decide to hide underwater in these shallower parts of the map. But we do see a little T1 frigate trying to attack some Mechs here. It does look like it will not claim that Mechs, unfortunately, and a drop does come out here from team... Wait, hold on, what? They're not... Oh, I was wondering what's going on, why they're not firing. I was like, they should be on other teams. I was confused by that. The engineers do go down. I was just really confused what the common engineers were doing there. But anyway, we have, again, still fighting to the east. Not really a whole lot going on. It's more probing attacks, kind of judging what everybody else is doing. Not really a huge, like, we're going to send everything in kind of move. We are talking about high-rated players. We're talking about lots of APM, lots of knowledge about FAF and everything of the sort. So it's going to be very high levels of play. And there's not really any chatting going on. There's a little bit of chatting going on, but not really a whole lot more. Just requests to send mass and energy, and that's really about it. No real, like, they might be on comms, but maybe. I feel like in these high-rated games, at least some of the players are on comms. It's a small number of players at this high ranking, so they probably at least have, like this person knows somebody who knows this person kind of thing. So they're able to, mostly be in the same voice call, I would assume. But you never know. Maybe it's just good to be, just use chat and just not use the advantage of being in like a Discord chat call sort of thing. But Foley going for a torpedo. He is Cybran. It's very common for Cybran commanders in a map like this to go torpedo, but he has to be very cautious of this because once T2 and even T3 starts to be the mainstream here, that becomes kind of useless. So he has to be aware of that. A couple of Janus are going after this T1 naval facility. There go the bombers, and there they're dropping fire on water. Does take out a couple of engineers as well. It isn't enough to snipe that naval facility, unfortunately, here for Team 1's player of FTX Commando. But I feel like Team 1's rearguard air slot is really just kind of hanging back, building up his air facility, he's already almost at T3, sub 10 minutes. He will have it essentially either at 10 minutes or really close to it. Yeah, he's going to have it before 10 minutes. And Team 2's player of Balance Slave already has T3 air and has already halfway done with his P-Gen. So that's a huge advantage. And we do see a tiny little sub here for Team 1's player of Achieved. I think that's 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 the Wheelie. Achieved Tagger was the other darker blue. Going after these mexes in the rear guard. Very nice snipe attempt, or nice kind of harass attempt. Does get one of the mexes, doesn't get all three of them, but at least, one is better than none. And in terms of ecos at 10 minutes, Team 1 in the lead at 558 mass per second versus Team 2's 400 and essentially 40. So over 100 mass per second for Team 1. That's a huge advantage. We're starting to see a lot of T2 torp bombers on the field for Team 1 to start harassing Team 2's Navy. We are seeing a couple of these T2 renegades here for the player of Boom Noob in the middle, harassing this mech. Not going after the commander just because he can just walk into the water 5 seconds after being shot at and he's fine. Doesn't end up killing off that mech, but going after the AA. Very smart move there. His gunships most likely would have died if that wasn't the case. At least eliminating most of the build power in that area anyways, just to slow down the roll of the defenses coming online. We are seeing just kind of skirmishes here to the west and the east. Not really a huge commitment to either or. We do see a group of these Team 1 slivers being attacked by these torp bombers. Team 2 doesn't really have an air force to really deal with those. Same with Team 1. We are seeing ASF start to be spit out by those factories. But again, at 11 minutes, you're going to have maybe 4 or 5 max. You're not really going to have a whole lot to throw at your opponent. And so you have to be very stingy with where you throw those ASF. Because again, it is a 20 by 20. It is a large map. And with only one air player, it makes it very difficult to manage the entire map. But I wouldn't be surprised to see these other players on the same island as the rearguard air slots for both teams to assist in that air game. We are seeing torp bombers being thrown out by God of Roadkill, and same thing here to the south here for the player of No Fear. They know their roles, and they are assisting their teams in their respective environments and functions. It does look like in terms of overall prowess and map control, Team 1 starting to lose it just barely. They're under 50%. Not a huge lot. There's not a lot of mexes again to grab, so map control isn't a huge issue. We do see Foley with his commander walking under the water, just like that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, just walking on the surface, walking on the floor, the ocean floor. That's the word I was looking for. Being all menacing with his torpedo. But we see T2 destroyers for both teams here to the east. It does look like Team 1's player of the Wheelie has the better naval fleet in terms of numbers. He is retreating. Talking about Mites. Still will not be able to say that name correctly. Building a cruiser, a Siren class, but is kind of struggling due to the fact that he has some overwhelming firepower coming down his way. He does have one torp launcher, which isn't going to do a whole lot actually. But it is going to start whittle down some of these frigates at least. Team 2 starting to lose their control over the Navy. A lot of their assisting units did go east. We are seeing some torp bombers assist in this naval fight, but really he needs those torpedoes to come back, which they are currently doing to help assist in defenses. This is a T2 naval facility, not the headquarters, but it is going to be a deadly, not a deadly blow, but a decisive, not decisive, what's the word for it? It's going to be a slowdown here for Mait's ability to respond to this threat. There it goes. The mission has been achieved, and once he takes out the mexes, I wouldn't be surprised to see the wheelie retreat with those remaining naval forces. And again, to the west, we are seeing T2 sub-hunters here for the player of Shen to the west. The Calm, again, has to be very wary of this. He does not want to be caught unawares and without support because, you know, I wouldn't say 5 minutes, probably like 2 or so minutes of continued bombardment from torpedoes will probably kill him or severely weaken him. He has no upgrades besides that torpedo. Doesn't have any veterancy as of yet, so, you know, still very weak. Weakest commander in the game is the Cybern. We are seeing the Team 1 player of God of Roadkill airdropped onto the facility here against Mites to the east. There are a couple of T1 and T2 units starting to bombard him. He's in the yellow. He's trying to go after the mexes here. And his best bet is to just get into the water after this. But his transport left him. He should have stayed behind to help assist. But I don't know what he was thinking going for this move. My man, says the wheelie. It's like, what are you doing, man? He's going after the mass. He takes out 1, 2, 3 T2 mexes. And takes out a hydrocarbon. He's trying to dodge as many shots as he can. Team 1 either needs to send support, and they are on his way. But he is really suffering here. I think if he gets into the water, he's dead from these torpedoes from the destroyers. And honestly, this guy is not making the smartest move here. There he goes. Still trying to dodge. Bombs landing around him. And he's dodging a lot of those shots to be... Oh, as I say that, he gets hit in the back. There he goes. Those units from Team 1's player of the wheelie were just a little too slow on just fending off these forces. It would have been a really interesting move had he landed like 30 seconds later and had at least distracted these naval forces to allow the retreat of that comm. Foley, I make BS, says Boom Noob. What? Don't know what he's talking about. Does have T3 tech, isn't going for T3 yet for air. But another T3 air player here for the player of Mr. Beast. And again, same thing happening here to the north. Very similar build orders for both teams' mirrors here. Not really string. I don't know if there's a meta for this map or not. I think this is the first time I've seen it. So I don't know if there's a meta or not. Probably. I would assume if it is a named map, of course. But I just haven't seen it enough to know what position does what. In terms of, this position, you could build some land units and kind of just walk across or hover across the water. But neither team is doing that, so that's probably not what is the normal here. But the player of Fall League does go down to T2 torpedoes. I did warn the risk of doing that, and Team 2 will suffer the loss because of it. Team 1 and Team 2 now only have 5 players left each. It is a tie game in that respect. Everything was handed over to Mr. Beast and then swiftly handed over to Boom Noob so he can micro the western side of the conflict. These units are still microed here by the player of Mr. Beast, but slowly but surely they will be built up here by Boom Noob here to the west. And he is holding for now, but combined pushing of Aeon and Cybern technology is starting to overpower Team 2 on that western side, and Team 2 is struggling on the eastern side as well. They've lost a couple of their frontline facilities as well, so they're really struggling to hold that air game, and there is a decent amount of Janus being built up back here. Maybe a possible sniper attempt by FTX Commando, and the air forces starting to be built up quite heavily for both teams. We have the player of Balance Slave building them up back here. We do have the Air Force here for the rearguard air slot of Team 1, Praetors to the west, trying to kind of cover his teammates' naval forces here against these torpedoes coming in from Mr. Beast. And the ASFs look like they are going to engage or at least move in that direction. But this is starting to be worrisome up here. Lots of these Janus. There is a couple of ASF Wasps in there as well. So Team 2 really needs to be cognizant of that. I don't even know if they know that's happening. No, they don't have radar signatures for them, so really have to watch out for that when it does come about. Again, to the west, Team 2's constantly being pushed back. They are producing more and more units. We're seeing, I think those are the, what is those? those the counterintelligence boats? I think those are the counterintelligence boats. Yes, those are the counterintelligence boats. They just looked weird. They kind of just obscure the the radar signatures, from what I understand. I'm not super familiar with these units. They have torpedo defense, sonar, radar, and then stealth, sonar, and radar. So you can see that Team 1 can only see them with vision. Once they go away, they can't see them again. It makes it difficult to target the units directly. So yes, just like a counterintelligence boat would do, it provides sonar and radar, and it obscures sonar and radar. So definitely, again, another versatile arrow in the Cyberent's quiver. But Air Forces from Team 2's player of Balance Life going after a lot of those Janus here for Team 1's player of FTX Commando. He will have to retreat. Bombers are in tow. They are being chased down by ASFs from Team 1's player of Praetors, and it is not a good engage. All those bombers are going down. I think once he kills most of them or all of them, he will retreat. There he goes, given the order to retreat. He's going to hover over some AA from these destroyers, but there's not any sirens. There's one cruiser in the mix, the Governor class, but again, 1 versus essentially 20 or 30 isn't really a huge issue. Dang, dude, 6k mass and torps did 3k damage. Insane. Not really worth the mass cost is essentially what FTX Commando is joking about. But it does look like there is some more forward momentum for Team 2 on this eastern side. The player of Maitz starting to push back against his mirror. He's the only player sub 100 mass per second and almost, well, not sub 200. We do have Praetors at 559 mass a second. That's a lot of mass. Looks like he was gifted over some of the mass from the player of God of Roko when he went in for that suicide run. And we have the player of, looks like, Balance Slave at 330 and Boom Noob at almost 300 as well. So it does look like Team 2 more focusing on getting everybody's eco up kind of at the same time versus Team 1 strategy of just having essentially one player being the main driving force for their overall ecos. Which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. Just depends on the game and a little bit of luck, a lot of skill, especially when you get higher and higher rating. But while it isn't paused, then try again. Don't know what that's about by the wheelie. But Team 1's naval forces from Shen pushing against Team 2's Boom Noob here in the west. Also, I have no intel on this entire fight, so GG. Yeah, let's go take a look at that. Well, I mean, he has some intel, but it just disappears due to those intelligence boats. We have T3 battleships on the causeway at on the field at 21 minutes. Oh, it was obviously before then because they had to, you know, swim over here or essentially, and that is going to be a huge boon to Team 1's forces. They are losing a lot of their boats, but that's a lot of firepower, and they need to use the advanced range on those. But 2 battleships for Team 2's player Boom Noob are pushing to the west. And once they get eyes on that battleship, it is going to be a nice, hefty amount of artillery raining at one another. These forces need to engage. All of the forces from Team 1 are targeting the battleship, severely wounding it, and needs to get them, there they go, into the fight and be able to deal damage back at one another. We have a naval fight here to the east with supplementing AA from Team 2's player of Mr. Beast with some more UBF tech in the mix to help assist, but this is just a pincer maneuver. We have air forces over the top here for both teams. It is not looking good for Team 2. Those, I don't know. They're starting to pull out. It's a lot of T1 units, but there are a lot of destroyers in the mix as well. So it's maybe, let's say, a tie game for now, but it is going to start favoring Team 1 just due to the fact that they are closer to that front line on Team 1 side of things versus Team 2 side of things to resupply those front lines. Team 2 has pushed back a little bit with some more sub-killers and those battleships. They haven't taken out the Galaxy class for Team 1. There's a second one on the way, and there is a strategic missile submarine, and it's already half loaded. Ooh, that is very dangerous here for Team 2 if they don't find that and kill it sooner than later. That is going to hurt. But the air forces from Team 2's player of Balance Slave are in the rear. Same with the air forces from Mr. Beast. Looks like we're trying to having a lockout scenario here for Team 2. And the ASFs are hiding behind their air grid, wanting to fully bring in all those air forces. Team 2 is smart enough not to do that. and decides to retreat, which is the smarter move. They have air control, not dominance, but they do have control for now. That is the important distinction, because there's a difference between having 50 ASFs versus 30 ASFs versus 200 ASFs and 30 ASFs. That's air dominance. That's like you own the air. It's going to take a while for your opponent to rebuild and build up to your numbers, and you're going to keep scaling anyway, so it's just more exponentially harder to get back air control with that so large of a gap between those numbers. But Team 2 needs to push in with their smaller units to engage the artillery, the longer range of these Galaxy class destroyers. They have 2, but it's again a 2v3 scenario. So just by the numbers, Team 1 wins that engagement. They need to close the gap with either more ships, or bring in more Galaxy class battleships, or bring in the ships to deal with the hit points on those battleships. But in terms of the game, who do you think is going to win at the current moment? It is 24 minutes. Each team has lost 1 player. So it's not, the rule of dying before 20 minutes has occurred in this game. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to win or lose, depending on how you feel. And of course, like the video if you've been enjoying it, and sub to the channel if you haven't already done so already. And I said I think already twice in that sentence. But again, we are seeing that those forces from Team 2 being pushed back. Team 1 holding their frontline positions. We have a T3 Neptune class battle cruisers for Team 1's player. Actually, they're Team 2's player, excuse me, of no fair. This is a huge grab for Team 2, allowing them to really take out a lot of the T1 units. They can take out T2 units, to be fair. But you can just see zap, one's dead, zap, one's dead. And then once they get another one in range, it's a zap. But that nuke sub for Team 1 has been launched. At least the nuke in that sub has been launched. And where is it going? I do not know. It's going to the east. Team 2 has no defenses here. The player of Mr. Beast needs to get out of there. It doesn't look like it'll hit him. The nukes from the subs are smaller, from what I remember. But it might just be this whole base up in smoke. He would have died if he was in that range still. You can see he even takes a decent hit to his hit points. It freezes him for a second because he got EMP'd essentially. And that base for Mr. Beast is gone. Second highest? Yeah, no, first highest rated player still alive on Team 2 has essentially been neutered in this game. It'll be a grab for Team 1. Nice placement of that nuke. A second one is loading. 53,000 mass was killed in that explosion. Oh, and of course, kaboom. We see the air forces for Team 2 just kind of hanging out over the defenses and the infrastructure for Team 1. We do see T2 torpedoes go after the T3 naval headquarters, and the wheelie has to retreat. He's losing his forces one after another. Maybe that's only T2. Yeah, I only see T2 on the field, so maybe only had a T2 facility. That's kind of interesting. You would think he would have T3, but he does not. Team 2's player of Might doesn't even have T3 yet as well. So no, that's probably T2. We do see a Summit class for Team 2's player of No Fear as well. His movement is calm around the field. Don't know where he's going with that, or where he was going to go with that. But Team 1, building up their air forces, not wanting to engage a fight that they know they're going to lose, and the wheelie hands everything over to the player of Praetors. Give me not Praetos, but Praetors. And he will control K. I think he tried to get some ASFs in that engage, and I think some did end up dying to that, but the wheelie will control K. Guess I can go only kill 20 ASFs, GG, listen, boom, you can't complain. Something about in chat. But it does now go down to a 5v4 in favor of Team 2. And we have a decent amount of torpedo bombers coming into the rescue for Team 2's player of Boom Noob. A lot of galaxies, and there's even an Omen in here for Team 1. Combined naval push to secure the southwestern section of the map. Oppressive firepower is one word for it. I can't go with a sea of galaxies because there's not just galaxies here in the water over here. There is an Omen in the water nearby. And I think that was the last video that I casted with a Chief Jaguar in it, was that Sea of Galaxies thumbnail video. It was very early on. It was like 20s, maybe 30s in the the number of casts I had done up to that point. But another Galaxy class is coming online, and that facility is still holding strong. But again, Team 2 still losing that map control slowly but surely. And there should be more AA in this presence here for Team 1, knowing that Team 2 does have air control, just to eliminate some of the bomb coming over top of these air forces. We can see a lot of the battleships have to retreat in this engagement, or at least fall back a little bit. But there's a heck of a lot of them here. We have, let's see, Chief Jaguar has 8, and his partner Shen has 4. And there's obviously, nope, that's not what I wanted. There's obviously probably more on the way, I would assume. But in terms of firepower, Team 1 has the advantage, but they don't want their mass to be dumped on Team 2's side of things. Hence the withdrawal and the massive amount of engineers coming onto the front line to reclaim, just to deny that reclaim against their opponent, because they would rather, spend the time getting it back, the mass that they spent, versus giving mass and maybe gaining territory against Team 2. And to the east, Team 1 just invading with all of their naval forces. And we have a huge amount of air scouts just to get a nice vision of the map here. And forces here from Team 2's player Mait are pushing into that rear position of production here for Team 1's player of Shen, going after his Cybern facilities. His Aeon 1s are still protected for now, but Team 2's oppressive air force is making it very difficult to fight back at the current moment. We even have just a solely Salem going after this nice grid of naval facilities just to produce, I'm assuming, frigates. Yeah, they're producing frigates at the current moment. We do have the Combo Praetors in the water here, building up the T3 naval tech for the Seraphim variety. We are at only 29 minutes, and wow, the game has changed since I commented about who do you think is going to win about 5 or so minutes ago. And I don't see any effort to win the game in terms of with game enders or massive amounts of nukes or artillery, but a huge air grid for Team 2's player of Balanced Slave, using all that map by that land mass to his advantage. But the massive hordes of bombers are coming over the top for those battleships, and so far it is not looking good for their health. Transfer of control has been given over to Shen, so a Chief Jaguar can micro other things. Look like he's microing some units up here. But the frigates getting into the air grid against Team 1's player Praetor is trying to get a cascade effect going on. If they take out this T3 Pigeon, it'll take out some defenses there. And then if they can target this one at least, and maybe even these two right here, it could create a cascade effect, at least a decent amount of the way into that not naval grid, but air grid. I'll keep wanting to say naval grid for some reason. But really, Team 2 expanding quite quickly here to that northeast corner. Really, Team 1 has lost it. The wheelie, with his death, really just struggling. Team 1 really struggling to hold that position. And, of course, Mr. Beast is out of it, but he's microing the air. He's using what APM he has to his advantage. A second nuke will launch from this sub here. We'll go after this position. There's a couple of battleships here, Cybern and UEF alike. Looks like that's the target to help soften up defenses for the battleships to move in and do some economic and infrastructure damage. There is a squad of engineers on that transport. There goes the nuke. Will not kill the battleships, severely weaken them, and will take out the naval headquarters. So that is a nice grab for Team 1. It is a nice, sorry about that. It is a nice victory where they're really struggling to hold territory. We are seeing, of course, those summits and those Neptunes and a bunch of just support units are moving in slowly but surely. Of course, it takes a while for those boats to move. They weigh a lot. And stop with that stupid mouse. I don't know why it keeps, every time I click the center mouse button to move my camera around, for some reason it just like jerks a little bit, and I don't know why it does that. I don't know if it's a mouse setting. I have no idea, but it is very annoying, and apologies for that. It does happen once in a while. It usually happens at least once per my casts, but maybe it just has to do with me like clicking. They technically are buttons when I go to the left or right with the middle mouse, but it's just weird. Anyway, we do see those battleships still holding strong here. It looks like most of them have retreated for Team 1. It's just a reclaim effort by Team 1 to scoop up as much reclaim as they can get. In terms, oh, didn't mean to click that, but in terms of overall, Team 2 skyrocketing in the lead at 2,000, almost 2,000 mass a second, versus Team 1's 1.5, 1.4. They are losing territory. They are losing mass, of course. Team 1 needs a swift, attack or move or something to gain back either momentum or firepower or something in this game. And going for a game ender might be the best bet here. They need some sort of, rallying cry to, rally around. Because Team 2 has pretty much fended off the southwestern side. They own the northeastern side and is almost done with eradicating Team 1's presence on that island. Team 2's only really issue looks like is going to be the player of Shen. Once he's taken out and all of his naval forces are dealt with, it's just open season for everything to just rush on through. Team 1 needs to hold this western position as long as they can and try to just delay the inevitable push that is coming from Team 2 on this eastern side. And the way to do that would probably be get a bunch of T3 AA defenses, and sub-hundreds is a good idea from the Yassos to just eviscerate those battleships and just do what they can to hold on. They need something, and I feel like a YOLO would be nice, or maybe just a massive amount of T3 nukes from the Athums that he can build. You're talking about Praetor specifically. But I don't see that on the current cards here for Team 1. Team 2 has, once they took air control, has been in the driver's seat of this game. We have Mr. Beast going for tactical missile, and then we'll probably start using that to take out some of those mass points. We do see a lot of AA for the middle of the map, so Team 1's player of FTX saying, you are not going to fly over my airspace or you will be shot down immediately. You can see just him alone, 28, covers almost the entire island, but artillery from Team 2's either Governor class, or we even see, of course, some Galaxies as well, starting to just really annoy FTX for the current moment, but he's building TMD to help assist in that, and shields as well. Team 2 is holding strong in the southeast section of the map. They have a little bit of leakage to the west, but the main fighting is here in this kind of equidistant section, middle of all these islands. So far, Team 2's player Boom Noob just satisfied to hang back, not using his comm. We have Shen talking about something. I don't know what he's talking about. What? That's a thing? Wait, hold on. It's Aeon. It takes time. It won't fire. Nice game. Bro, it's Aeon. It takes time. You got to take it off hold fire. Something about hold fire. Don't know what they're talking about. Something about maybe ground firing. I don't know. But it's the tale as old as time. Battleships sitting back and firing artillery shells or plasma or whatever the case may be at one another. It is a natural divide between our players here. They want to rule this planet section of the map, whatever of the world, whatever the case may be, and so they're fighting for control. At least that's the lore reason. At least in the meta version, it's just they want to have a skirmish between a group of players. But the transporter Boom Noob almost taken out. I see he's almost taken out by the ASFs. That was almost a nice drop. But the comm of FTX goes down to Mr. Beast's missile, it looks like. Does he get... No, he didn't get any veterancy, so that's not him. At least that wasn't from him. What? Oh, Mr. Beast. I'm done. That's the wrong player. Yep, that looks like that's him. 1,000 mass. Has a missile loaded, 2 kills. Yep, that looks about right. He gets hit by a missile, and now it's a 5v3 in favor of Team 2. Boom Noob almost died from being on that transport. You can even see in chat the drop. And then Shen says, get him. So that was probably 10 seconds. Well, 5 seconds. I'd say 5 seconds and he would have died. That was very, very close. Nuke says Balance Slave. Dedication says Shen. I don't see any nuke. I don't know what Balance Slave is talking. Oh, that's right here. And he has the nuke. It is loaded. And is looking for a target to fire. It is 35 minutes in this game. Team 2, is starting to be pushed back in the northeast section. Team 1 is fighting back thanks to the massive eco of Team 1's player Praetor. Is pumping out a bunch of naval units to just push back against his opponents. You can see his oppressive nature starting to just encircle this eastern island that once belonged to the Wheelie. We even see a couple of Yasa starting to sprinkle their way down south as well. And the artillery has just been massive here for both teams on these battleships. Just unrelenting battleship after battleship, either dying to nukes or artillery fire or torpedoes, whether they be from the air or from the water. It's just been massive. But with another death on Team 1, the APM values go down. And we have the player of Praetors doing a good job of micromanaging a whole bunch of stuff. But at some point, it's going to be too much if it ends up being just him. He has to micro air, navy, base building, eco, all of that sort of thing. We are seeing RASCOM starting to appear here for at least a couple of players on Team 1. Again, the space or the land mass in general is a premium here. And Team 1's player Praetor has almost evicted Team 2 here on this northeastern side. And another nuke. It is from Team 2. Where is it? Is it from his? It's not from his base. Is there another nuke I don't know about? Don't see. I'm zooming out. Where's the nuke? I don't see the nuke. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's coming from this base. Oh, it's from the player of No Fear. I'm like, where is this nuke? I don't see it. And there it goes sailing across the map. I don't... How close is it firing? It's firing... Oh, right here. It's going to go after that naval facility. The comm of a Chief Jaguar is saved by a really nice placed T3 strategic missile defense. The comm of a Chief Jaguar goes, I am out of here. And it was loaded, and it wasn't barely loaded, but that was very close. So he is saved by some skill and some luck, of course, because you cannot win this game without at least a little bit of both. But a group of battleships here to the east, Team 2 now has to divert more of their attention to a far longer front line. And with Yasaus pushing in the middle, battleships pushing to the east, battleships shooting their artillery shells over this little island here, RASCOM starting to scoop up mass and take over mass points. Team 2 is starting to suffer, subcom brain, starting to suffer, APM taxation. They're just trying to manage a whole bunch of things, and Team 1 is just being oppressive in that nature. It is just torpedo heaven over here for both teams. We have Harms in the water. We have Yasaus in the water. We have, of course, sub-killers and a heck of a lot of battleships and, of course, supporting aircraft carriers as well. The Harms are being beat back, though. Team 2 needs to fall back a little bit and build a secondary line. They're going to lose it here pretty soon. They need to hold them off while they build more and more defenses, and that's not happening currently. The ASF will come in. Massive amounts of ASF for both teams. ASF control has been given over to Mr. Beast exclusively. 600 versus Praetor's almost 500, and with the SAM sites underneath, it is going to be a very interesting fight if they engage. I think the engage will happen here. A lot of Nathas are going down. It does look like Team 2's player of Mr. Beast is going to avoid all those SAM sites. He does not want to engage over top of those. All that mass will fall on Team 1's territory. He does not want to give that over to him just straight up. And now we're seeing more of an oppressive and offensive nature. It does look like a transport is killed off again, but a couple of engineers will survive the drop and start building naval facilities. Team 2's player of Balance Slave has now built up a decent sized naval fleet with a couple of actually a lot of that's way more than I thought there was. 15 aircraft carriers, 4 battleships. That is a lot of AA and a lot of missiles because they are Seraphim and they can launch missiles. And the air fight does not happen. It's close, though. It's going to happen here pretty shortly. Maybe it'll happen over the top of this. I think that's the best engagement for both teams. Well, it's the best engagement for Team 2. It's like a mild engagement for Team 1. They want it over here in the middle. And we see a bunch of torpedoes going after those subs. And some of them, actually, a decent amount are being taken out, both in the water and in the air. Team 2's player of Balance Life using his torpedo bombers as a lure, as a, not a scapegoat, as bait to take out the ASFs, or at least engage not over SAM sites. And so far, Team 2 is now beating them back once again. It's kind of an ebb and flow, a yin and yang kind of sort of thing. One gains ground, one loses ground, takes ground back, and then vice versa kind of thing. But more Yasos penetrating that front line. They are being dealt with quite swiftly, though. A couple of them do start to get out of range of those torpedoes chasing them. But the AA coming off of these aircraft carriers is quite annoying, and they can deal with a lot of those bombers quite quickly. And now we see the Yasos targeting the aircraft carriers to deal with that air support. We even see, you know, close fire air support in the form of these aircraft carriers for Team 1. So Team 2 and Team 1 using a lot of aircraft carriers, and now that push through the middle is starting to occur. Team 1 is fed up with just holding back, and is now going to... that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Anyway, start pushing back. It is a lot of plasma and shell fire, artillery fire in general. Just a lot of incoming, just long-range attacks across the map. The oppressive nature of the battleships very apparent here in this game. ASFs are going to just hold over this position for Team 2. They want Team 1 to engage, and Team 1's player Praetors does not want to do that either. Teleporter for Mr. Beast, very interesting. Going to switch off from the missile and go for teleporter. Wonder what he's going to do with that large group of Yasos. Actually, that's a lot of Yasos. 36, that's a decent amount of Yasos. Team 2, of course, was able to beat them back and is now pushing with more and more harms. And that's what you got to do with Cybran, you know, especially when you're facing off with a bunch of sub-hunters, the Yasos. Just pump out a heck of a ton of just these harms, and it really won't matter. Because the Yasos are weak in terms of hit points. They do a lot of damage, but they're weak. It's like a glass cannon. They do a lot of damage, but they're super weak. So as long as you can stave off a decent amount of those shots, you can see he is putting them everywhere and reclaiming all the time. In terms of total reclaim by both teams, Team 1 winning at a little over 400, Team 2 at 370. Actually, not a huge difference between the teams at only about 40,000 mass. In terms of total mass accrued, Team 1 is actually starting to lose their lead. You can see they just have it just due to the fact of their reclaim, and if it wasn't for that, it would be essentially tied or just a little bit ahead of Team 2. But now Boom Noob has lost all of those defenses in terms of those battleships, and is now just starting to suffer the ill effects of not having enough units. Team 2 now is in the position of they need to either divert more attention to the west, or they need to severely push in the north and just give up on the north, or the west mostly, and just run it down Team 1's throat. And we see a lot of not the fighter bombers. There's possibly a snipe on the cards. Of course, there's not really any attempts to go mass shielding to protect air grids. There's a couple of nukes for both teams. I don't see any efforts to go game enders. Maybe there's like a gentleman's agreement or something not to do that, which is, you know, sad to see sometimes. But, you know, sometimes you just don't want to deal with 4 Scathis or 2 Mavers or 2 Paragons. You just don't want to deal with it. And I do not blame our players for just saying, hey, everything except game enders, or artillery in this case. But another nuke, speaking of which, has been launched by that same sub. It's killed 85,000 mass. And where are you? Oh, it's going... yeah, that's a good point. Going after the harms. Team 2 is going to be forced back into a kill box while the nuke comes over and wipes everything out. That nuke is pretty well timed. Let's see, how many of those subs will it end up killing off, and how many of those... Oh, that's like almost dead. Oh, that is dead. Oh. Ooh, that's going to hurt. Kaboom. Takes out 2 battleships, severely weakens 5 more. Takes out some RASCOMs and some defenses as well. That was a perfectly placed nuke to deal a massive amount of damage against battleships. Doesn't kill a whole lot, but kills a lot of hit points, which, you know, is a decent effort. Not decent effort, a decent amount of work by that one nuke. And you can see another of those battleships is gone. You can see a lot of these Yasuo just being ground fired. You can see there goes another one, and there go a couple more. I don't think they can, you know, submerge, and maybe they... Are they under the water? Oh, there they go. No? Can't tell. It's hard to tell sometimes if they're under the water. It looks like they are, but they're just sitting right on the... right below the surface of the water. But the nuke... Oh no, Mr. Beast is defeated by Praetors. Looks like it was a... Wait, hold on. Was it a nuke? What? Wait, hold on. Team 2 is now down to 3 players. They've lost Mr. Beast and Boom Noob. Was it Nothas? I can't tell. I can't tell what it was by. Apologies for missing that double kill, essentially, by Team 1. But now it's a 3v3. Balance Slave has to micro essentially the entire western part of his, attack formation front line, while Team 1 is essentially in the same boat as Praetors. And now the game is flipped on ahead. Team 2 is down 2 players. Yeah, it had to have been... Looks like it wasn't a nuke. It had to have been a bomb of some sort. Maybe it was telecoms? Bringing in some, Rambo preset commanders with teleporter on them? No, but I don't see... Yeah, I don't know what that was. I do apologize for missing it. And there goes another nuke here from Team 2 going for a defensive play. Going to position it here. Those battleships are not going to be in position. Maybe one will get scathed. But that's about it. Should have put it right here. Would have, had some friendly fire, but at least would have done more damage. And now you can see the map. Essentially, it's almost 50-50 at this point. And there goes the nuke. Oh, they've turned around to blow. No, it's a little further back than I remember. I think this one will die. Nope, not even close. Only kills a couple of cruisers. That's got to hurt. And in the face of a 3-to-1 odds, it was 2, but now it's 1. Actually, it's 4-to-1 odds. It does not look good for that galaxy. There it goes. Bombers are called forth to help assist. Team 2 is now on the back foot. Loss of 2 plays. Lots of APM, especially at 45 minutes. That is a lot of APM to lose at once. Yeah, it must have been because Praetors got the kill. I don't see any more of those Nothas. That's probably what it was. Looks like, P-Gens went down. Yeah, it just looks like it was a Notha fighter bomber rush with, volatile explosions from P-Gens, essentially. And that just goes to show, don't stand next to P-Gens and don't stand next to each other because it could be a double kill. Just fair warning. Even high-rated players make mistakes. It is never... There's no such thing as a perfect game. There is always a such thing as you can always improve. We have just I was going to say PD creep, but a torpedo creep here from Team 2. Slowly pushing back those Yashaos more and more. And it's just starting to be kind of Team 1's game now. Team 1's Praetor is in the driver's seat now, leading a lot of this game. Team 2... Really, they're relying on, of course, Balance Slave to assist in defense, and a lot of those defenses were managed by Boom Noob and by Mr. Beast, and so now it's a lot more APM taxing to deal with this. We do see more battleships being built up in defense. That's a lot of sub-hunters for Team 2 to contend with, and we just see a lot of just breaking of the front lines. For Team 2, I feel like they need some sort of, I would say game ender to win to come back in this game. But Team 1 didn't need it, and they came back, so Team 2 needs to catch a break somehow. And I don't really see that currently. I don't even see... I don't even see experimentals at all. Oh, nope, okay, never mind. Forget everything that I said. It's not a gentleman's game. Team 1... player Praetors is building a Scathis, so that is the thing. Not a gentleman's agreement, not anything like that. Just wanted to wait and then deal with it and then build it later. That's almost done too. That will eviscerate Team 2's Balance Slave's base, and that might be a killing blow. If Team 2 loses their air, that's it. That's game over. Even though Team 1 is slowly losing that northeastern side, all Team 2 has to do is encircle this position, take out the base, and then move northwind. That's it. So Team 2 really needs to hold on to this air grid and really pump out as many ASFs, bombers, whatever they can muster, and just throw it at their opponent at this point. We are seeing battleships being dealt with, but they have more support coming in from the north from the player of Achieve Jaguar. Chief Jaguar. I don't even know what I said there, but Shen has built an experimental, I think the first of the game. And where is it? Is it a Tempest? He is Aeon. Is it a Tempest? I want to see a Tempest. Where's a Tempest? Not a Tempest? Oh, no. It's It's a Scathus. Never mind. So the first experimental of the game is a game ender, and it's a Scathus. Very interesting there. Yeah, I didn't see any Tempest, and I didn't see any Atlantis, which is very weird. Usually you see at least one of those from either of the naval players, but haven't seen those yet. The Omens have essentially been dealt with, and now it's just T2 Tort Bombers dealing with these T2 sub-hunters. Almost said killers, but they are hunters. Scathus Fire should be opening up here pretty soon. Is it firing yet? There it goes, and it is targeting, I would assume the air grid would be my guess, but it looks like it's moving eastward to this position. Very interesting. Still, Team 2's player, a Balance Slave, does not want to engage over this SAM site, just annoyance. We have some Strat Bombers coming in. Ooh, here we go. Hold on, I'm going to go into to tracking mode to get a nice little vision on what's going on. Let's see. Okay, click, track, remove this. Now we're going to get a nice little vision. A lot of ASF. Look at this fleet of ASFs guarding these Strat Bombers. They're looking for that comm. And ASFs and AA looks like, okay, they're going to break through. We see some AA going after those Strat Bombers. Game ender question mark in the distance here. They're going for that target. The first Strat Bomber is going to go down. The rest of them will engage. ASS will come in and kill the rest of them off. It was enough, and the air fight ensues. It does ensue at 50 minutes. The first air fight, well, the first big air fight will engage, and it is just, I'm going to go back to no icons. Look at this mess. Look at the mess. It's a mess here over on the northern side. We even have just more and more ASFs just joining the fight here. It is not looking good. I can't tell who's winning. It looks like a lot of those ASFs are just kind of hovering there. Team 1's player, Praetor, is constantly moving his. Team 2 is doing the same, of course, here from Balance Slave. Look at the death in the water. Look at all the just aircraft falling into the water. And it does look like Team 1 wins that air fight. Praetor wins it with 80. Wait, no, those are different ASFs. 180 plus 160 plus 80. What is that? Like 250? Nukes are being launched against this position. That's a lot of aircraft to lose. And Team 2 has lost a decent section of that air grid, of course, from the Scathus Fire. Nukes are launching just to protect, just to use them up before they explode. Balance Slave, you need to move before it blows up, because you're going to die if you keep sitting there like that. We have some T2. Oh, that's a lot of Torps going after. I think they thought that was the comm. That was not the comm. Nuke does land here, taking out that naval production facility. Nuke lands here, taking out a heck ton of aircraft carriers. We have artillery fire against this position against Team 2. We have just a heck ton, but just a massive amount of skimmers going after T3 boats. And it is the beginning of the end here, I feel like, for Team 2. The pings go down for the Scathus. The Nuke lands up here, takes out a couple of units here to the north. I don't think it's going to matter. Here's a large group of battleships. This is Team 2's saving grace here. If they can use this, be a huge grab. Some of the infrastructure has died off. Team 2 launches another nuke, and Team 1 launches another nuke, again from another submarine. Let's see, that's the third submarine. Maybe the other one died. I don't know where the first one went. Well, there's no one over here. A lot of nuke subs, a lot of not moving nukes. But this nuke is going to hurt Team 2 pretty badly. A second nuke does launch as well, going after the same position. Oh, there goes the first one. Gonna hurt. Oh, kaboom. Takes out a battleship and deals a lot of damage to a couple of others. Here comes the second one here pretty soon. I should see it. I have to zoom. Oh, there it is. It's way high up in the sky. Nuke lands in this position. Does it kill a comm? No, it's just a nuke landing. Okay. And there it goes. Kaboom. Takes out a... Actually, doesn't take out anything. Takes out a couple of defenses. That is it. But this position is wrecked here for Team 1. A lot of those naval units have taken severe damage due to nuclear hellfire. And the air grid for Team 2 is gone. They're building a Maver. It's kind of late in the game to build a Maver. Should have started it like 5 minutes ago. It could be the last ditch effort here for Team 2 to get back in this game. They need to kill the Scathis, but the Scathis has moved. It's now over here. Where is it going? Oh, it's going over here. So it's changing positions, going to Shen's base. Doesn't have a lot of shielding. Doesn't have any shielding, actually. Actually, no, it has a couple. But they're just offline for now. Saving energy or whatnot. Maybe doesn't have enough energy to... Oh, yeah, he is... Oh, yeah, he is very negative on power. Team 1 trying to stave off some threats here to the north. This is their main issue, of course, but they've bottlenecked Team 2's forces. It's a lot of battleships, but they just can't move forward, and there's just Yasao's constantly pummeling these Summit class and Galaxy class ships here in this causeway, or in this waterway, I should say, this channel. More nukes launching all the time, same position, and they just can't do much of anything here. It just sucks because you see all of these units and you're like, oh, this is awesome. They're just going to push forward, and then you see 2 nukes and a bunch of torpedoes, and you go, nah, it's not going to feel good. Another nuke launch, this time by Team 2. Oh, lots of torp bombers got killed. Friendly fire there. It was friendly fire, but I think it was worth the price. Killing a couple more battleships. Team 2 has to retreat. Team 2 launches their own nuke. Where is it going? Oh, it's going for this position. There is an SMD 5 and 4. There's 9 nukes loaded. 9 anti-nukes loaded, excuse me, and 2 more on the way. Team 2, how's the Maver going? Hasn't really going up very quickly, going very slowly. And the nuke is shot down. Actually, it lands here. Short. Thought it would land over here for some reason, but apparently not. Takes out, looks like a couple of RAS comms. That's really about it. Doesn't take out any of the other enemy comms. It's still 3v3 at 55 minutes. This game lasts a little bit over an hour, so we still got about like less than 10 minutes worth of time. Another nuke from Team 1. Is it a YOLO? It is a YOLO. Look at that. 2 game enders in this game. I thought I wasn't going to get any. And where is it going to land? It's going to land probably over here, where the Scathis fire is raining down on RAS comms. Quantum gateways are taken out. And this mass is going to go bye-bye here for Team 1. Actually, not really going to get anything on. Oh, we'll see. I forget how wide the range is. There goes the RASCOM. Let's just watch it just evaporate off the map. There it goes. Doesn't take out this position, which is very weird. Does hit the shields, but that could have been from artillery fire. Another nuke from Team 1. Actually, no. Wait. Yeah? Oh, it's from here. It's from this position. Targeting, I don't know, but another nuke, again, this time from Team 1's player of Praetors, and man, Team 2 is suffering. They had a good thing going on the north side. They still have some sort of comeback, possibly, maybe, but the group of Yasaos, the group of torp launchers, the group of torpedo bombers, it is not going well. There goes that position of mass here for Team 2. And that number is slowly going down. Team 2 at 1K mass a second. Actually less now. Team 1 at 1.8. And another nuke from the south. A lot of nuke subs. Does Team 2 have the SMD? They have 7 loaded, so they are able to protect for a little while. But the artillery fire is just raining in on this position now. Needs more shielding. The nuke does get shot out of the sky just barely. Is now down to 4 left on in the clip here for this SMD. But another nuke, another nuke, another nuke. I see 1 traveling the map. I see 4 traveling this. Jeez. 3 of them go into that position, and 1 of them goes north. Those look like the Maver attempt has been squashed. I don't think it's enough. Will the nuke land even with an SMD? First one fires, second one fires, third one fires. Just barely. There goes the nuke up here to the north. Takes out more hit points on those battleships. Another one inbound. There goes another nuke to the east. This time it's an Aeon, but kills the comm of Mites. Wait, no, it wasn't Aeon. That was no, it wasn't Aeon. And there goes another nuke. And there goes the YOLO, just killing everything else. Team 2 just receiving shot after shot after shot. Both the silos down here to the south are taken out. No Fear is on a transport. He's getting the heck out of Dodge. And there he goes. There he goes. It is not looking good here for Team 2. Like I mentioned earlier, it's 57 minutes in. A lot of the infrastructure is down. A lot of the everything is down. We have some T3 sub hunters going after nuclear submarines. And looks like they've dealt with most of them. There's a few back here still. They have retreated for now. But there's no attempt. Where'd that comm go? Oh, it's over here to the middle. Tactical missile on the way for No Fear. He'll go for Billy Nuke, I would assume, and try to do something with it. But no one is leaving prematurely. They're staying in this till the end. Love to see it, but here comes the torpedo bomber rush. And it's going to eviscerate at least a whole bunch of defenses. But they're, I don't know. Well, they passed some targets. I think they're going after just whatever they can fire at. Tactical nuke on the way, of course, for No Fear, going for the Billy Nuke. We see just a portion of the air grid still online. Another nuke will launch. Where is this one going? I don't know. It is from the YOLO as well, so it's going to be a bigger nuke. It is a super nuke, and Team 2 has no naval forces to speak of. And I think it might be time just to speed it up just a smidge. We're, of course, going to watch that nuke land here. And the Yasau push is going to just eviscerate most things. There it goes. It launches. Kaboom. Takes out more defenses on that, well, remaining lines. We see not the fighter bombers go after the comm of No Fear in the middle. There he went. It is now a it's a 3v1 in favor of Team 1. We have the comm of Balance Lamp over here to the east. Where's he going? He's just going to walk the edge of the map. Look at this. He's just going to walk the edge of the map, trying to just skirt the edge. He will be spotted. So I feel like at this point, I'll just up it to 4. There's really nothing left for Team 2 to really use. Shen built another experimental. Don't tell me you built another Scathis, because that would be... No, it's a bug. Okay, it's building a lot of bugs now. There goes another YOLO nuke landing. Doesn't kill a naval facility, but... oh, no, there it went. Just took a second. Now the fire bombers running around the maps. Massive amounts of aircraft carriers. We do see the comm of Team 2's player Balance Slave has been spotted. Pings go down. Will he die? Praetor is killed off by Chief Jaguar with the nuke. Now, hold on, I gotta slow that down. What happened here? What? Is there something in chat about it? I did not need to throw air. You're bad. You're dead, bro. We win this. What? And yeah, it had to have been a nuke because I don't. The SMD. No, the SMD is loaded. That's where the nuke exploded. It looks like it probably was just other units, it looks like. There's a lot of units up here. Weird. Well, the comm of Praetors goes down, and now it's a 2v1. That was very unexpected. I did not expect that to happen. And Scath is firing, raining down. They are encircling the comm of Balance Slave. You can see shots are raining down around him. And there goes the torpedoes, slowly but surely. We have Yasau's just targeting him with a bunch of torpedo fire. Trying to build up some T1 torp defenses. Nuke is going to land on top of him, though. And it's just the slow death. There he goes. Torp bombers will kill. No, he doesn't get killed off by torps. He gets killed off by Yasau's. And that is it here, folks. Team 1 wins the fight, and it was a pretty good back and forth for a decent while there. But Team 1 was able to break this western section of Team 2's front line. They took out 2 commanders with 1 shot, essentially, and then built a Scathis and then just won. It does look like, yeah, that it did explode. So oh, maybe he did. Oh, he probably did teleport commanders. That's probably what he did. Let's see. That's what I would assume. Yeah, because that died. That's the YOLO explosion. I see that. Oh, that was weird. Didn't know you could do that, huh? Yeah, I feel like that's the YOLO explosion. The comm died up here. Yeah, I don't really see. There wasn't any more nukes online that I knew that I could see. Nuke was flying over the top for Team 1. Yeah, it just must have been there was just enough forces up here to deal with the comm. But yeah, I don't see exactly how he died. But answers probably down in the comments will probably have noted maybe a strap bomber, maybe bunch of torpedo bombers, something targeted the comm up there. But still doesn't matter, even though Praetors died, Team 1 still won. And in terms of MVP, I think I'm going to have to give it to Shen. He held the western side for a very long time, with assisting in Chief Jaguar, of course. But he held that western line for a very long time, built a Scathis with some assistance. That broke Team 2's air grid, of course. But at that point, they had already broken through the front lines on the south. And really just, with that kill from Praetors here in the middle with those 2 comms, that double kill, essentially Team 2 was at a loss. Like Balance Slave could only do so much. He can only manage so much at one time. And so I think Shen, takes the cake here for the MVP of the game. Let me know down in the comments if you think I'm right, I'm wrong, kind of sort of right, kind of sort of wrong. Whatever you feel like commenting about, let me know down in the comments. I love to read them. I love to respond to them. Like the video if you haven't done so already. And, of course, if you haven't hit that sub button, I would greatly appreciate it. And for those who did, thank you so much. And I will see all of you in the next one.